This is the story of a young man who thought he needed a big change until he learned that small beginnings create the biggest transformations. There was once a young man named Milan who lived at the edge of a peaceful countryside town. From the outside, his life looked simple and ordinary, but inside, he carried a quiet longing, a desire to grow, to become someone stronger, someone more disciplined, someone he could finally be proud of. Yet Milan battled something few people understood. He believed that change had to be big. He believed that improvement required dramatic action. He believed that transformation needed the perfect moment. And because that moment never arrived, nothing in his life moved. Each morning, he woke up with hope, imagining the version of himself he wished to become. Each night, he went to bed with regret, knowing he hadn't taken a single real step. For years, his dreams remained untouched, like books never opened. His goals gathered dust in his mind, and slowly, his confidence faded. His mother watched this quietly. She saw how each unfinished day made his shoulders heavier. One evening, she sat beside him and said softly, "My son, no mountain is climbed in one step. But if you take no steps, you will spend your whole life staring at the mountain." Milan heard her words, but his heart didn't know where to begin. Everything still felt too big, too far, too overwhelming. But life has a way of sending the right teacher at the right moment. In the same town lived an old carpenter named Hari. People said he had guided many young souls, not with lectures, but with simple lessons that shaped the mind the way his hands shaped wood. One afternoon, when Milan was sitting alone under a tree, Hari approached him. "You look heavy, my boy," he said gently. Milan nodded. "I want to change, but I don't know how. Everything feels too big for me." The old carpenter studied him quietly, then placed a small wooden bead in his hand. "This," he said kindly, "is where your new life begins." Milan looked at the bead, confused. "A bead? How can this help me?" Hari handed him a small cloth pouch. "Every morning," he said, "choose one task. Only one. Something you can finish. When you complete it, place one bead in this pouch. Return to me in 40 days. Milan blinked. "That's all?" Hari smiled. "That is everything." The next morning, Milan tried. He didn't try to change his entire life. He didn't make a long list. He didn't aim for perfection. He simply made his bed, something he had ignored for weeks. Then he placed the first bead in the pouch. The sound was small, but inside him, something shifted. On the second day, he organized a corner of his room. On the third day, he walked for 10 minutes. On the fourth, he read a few pages of a book. Some days he forgot. Some days he failed. Some days he felt the weight of his old habits pulling him back. But he always returned the next morning. And day after day, bead after bead, something quiet and powerful began to grow inside him. And before I continue, if this story is touching your heart so far, consider subscribing. It helps us bring more stories that inspire growth, peace, and transformation to people who need them. 40 days passed, and Milan returned to Hari with a small cloth pouch. Inside were 27 beads. Milan lowered his head. "Master, I failed. I didn't fill it." But Hari smiled deeply, the way a wise man smiles when he sees more than the boy in front of him can see. "My boy, when you came here, your life had 0 beads, 0 discipline, 0 movement. And now, look, 27 moments where you pushed against your old self. 27 victories, even if they were small. This is how strong lives are built, not through leaps, but through small beginnings. Milan felt something warm settle in his chest. A quiet fire, a new belief. From that day on, he kept the habit. One task each morning, one bead each day. He woke up earlier. He studied a little each day. He helped his parents without being asked. He grew patient and steady and strong. Weeks became months. His mind sharpened. His confidence returned. His life began to rise. He learned carpentry from Harry. He repaired small items for neighbors. His honesty earned trust. More people came. More work came. More opportunities came. What began as a single bead became a path of transformation. 1 year later, Milan had changed in ways even he could not believe. He had built discipline, focus, and direction. He earned enough to support his family. People respected him. Children admired him. And his own eyes finally reflected the young man he always hoped he could be. The boy who once waited for the perfect moment no longer waited at all. He had discovered the power of small beginnings. Dear listener, this story is not only about Milan, it is about you and me. And everyone who believes change must be big before it can begin. But the truth is simple. You do not need the perfect plan. You do not need great strength. You do not need a huge start. You just need one small beginning, one quiet step, one simple action repeated again and again. Because your new life does not arrive suddenly. It grows quietly, bead by bead, choice by choice, day by day. Start small. Start gentle. Start today. Your transformation is waiting for the moment you take your next tiny step.